Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Yes, indeed, it's a brand new day, and that's good. It's good to have new days instead of just endlessly recycling the days prior. But still, thumbs up for that. I slept last night, and that was good. Not wonderfully, but I did sleep, so at least there's that. Some, kinda. So thumbs up for that. And I did stuff sort of yesterday. I played games, I watched videos, I went on walkies. I did some things, just not a whole lot. I largely took the day off. I've been trying to be good to myself mentally and giving myself times to relax and, itchy nose because I'm talking. So I'm at least doing some things, at least kind of mentally, and that's good. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And of course, front loading of the videos. Yay, YouTube. Hey, if you could interact with the YouTube algorithms and toss me a like, thumbs up for that. If you could subscribe to the channel, that would be very, very cool. If you could leave me a comment, I really enjoy comments. I read them all, I thumbs up each one, and then I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow, so thumbs up on that. And of course, I do want to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful and awesome people are literally beautiful and awesome, helping to keep me alive. My disability largely goes to my rent, leaving me next to nothing to survive on. And these people here, well, these beautiful and awesome people help me and my pets, well, sink slower beneath the waves. So that's cool and appreciated. Thank you all so very, very much. Yay, front loading of videos over. Now, one thing that is sad is I do not have the money to pay for my post office box. So after 6-7 years, I'm going to lose my post office box unless people can, help donate to like my PayPal so I can pay for that. I got to get $100 by the end of the month or I'm losing it. One of the reasons that I'm sad about that is I had forgotten that somebody had ordered this for me, and it showed up just the other day. The D100 dungeon book. I talked about D100 dungeon. They actually ordered it and it showed up. And if my box had been shut, it never would have arrived. But not just this, it's got the little pieces that go with this. Whoops, dropping stuff. It's got a whole mat that you can buy for the keeping track of the various things. And that's very, very cool. I wouldn't have been able to receive any of these without that. So that's very, very cool. The one thing that I do like about that, well, there's many things I like, but in the intro, just before he goes on to the, I gotta get through the pages, there is the tips to surviving the dungeons. And whilst the adventurer can equip many kinds of weapons, the dice are your weapons. However, not all dice roll true. So if they are not being kind to you, check their balance. After all, your adventurer would always check their weapon's balance before using it. And it's true. So this is awesome. This is very, very cool. I'm going to be reading it and playing it and working on it, and I want to do videos on this sort of thing. So here is hoping that I'll be able to get all that done with my ADHD meds in my system. And I just wanted to say that because thank you so much to anybody who ever does get me anything that has to go to my post office box. I'd hate to lose it, but I can't pay for it. My rent went up by $100 every single month. That's an extra $1,200 every single year that I am slowly sinking beneath the waves for. So unless I can get help to pay for that box, I'm going to lose it, and that sucks. Life is life. But I wanted to talk about that and how it showed up and how that's very, very cool. I'm going to be playing that. There are like 6 total books that are available for the game. You only need the first one to actually play the game. The other things add extra rules, extra equipment, and then like the last book, that one's the mega one that adds a whole overworld and overworld adventures to it. So I'm hoping to eventually somehow accumulate the others. That would be very, very cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. But I'm excited about physical things again. That book there, it's a good thing. Definitely a thumbs up on that. So let me check on my list here. Yes, I do have one thing that I wanted to mention because I watched a couple things on biology and science this morning. And one of the things reminded me, there is Because there was a thread on someplace, Twitter or Tumblr, but they were talking about how old some things are. You know, like sharks are older than trees, and trees, sharks, and human beings, our lineage, are older than the rings of Saturn. One of the moons of Saturn went too close, shattered, and then only about 100 million years ago did Saturn get its rings. So we as a species are older than the rings of Saturn. And that's very, very cool. But one of the other things, looking down here to remind myself, they also talked about there's one plant that is pollinated by beetles because it evolved before bees. And so beetles have to pollinate this plant. And that's an old plant. But then someone else mentioned that there's another plant that is still alive today that has to rely on wind and such like that for pollination because it is so incredibly ancient as a species. The creatures that evolved to pollinate these plants died out a long time ago. So they lasted longer than the creatures that helped them grow and spread themselves. And the creatures that they evolved to eat their fruit, and they evolved to have the fruit for these creatures so they could eat them and spread their seeds, they died out a long time ago. This ancient species of plant surviving now in a world that it didn't grow up in, with the creatures that it evolved to feed, with the creatures that evolved to pollinate it, all gone, but it's still here. And in a way that makes me, you know, life finds a way, but on the other hand, of course, that's sad. So many things going away. But remember, where we are in life right now is not the end point of everything. This is just a transition to some odd point in the future. This is not an end point. We are not in an end point on anything. This is not the end point of civilization. You know, even if we weren't driving our civilization into a cliff face at Mach speed, we're just on a transition. This is not the end point of anything. Because after all, in about 1 billion years, our star system, the sun, is going to be a red giant and expanded out past the limits of our orbit. And then far off into the future, when it's just all cold and dark. We're just on a transition point. And of course, I want to talk about my creative processes, less about that, but more about just my setting. I have been doing a lot of disorganized thinking about this, that, and the other, reminding myself of some things, and working on other parts ever since the big push on Iron John. It's just been smaller things and getting stuff straight in my head. Because after all, even though there is no map of the razor's edge, it's all transitory. Remember, I talk about this. I've got big plans, and that it's all evolving organically through time. So I even know roughly where things are going on the razor's edge, because after all, at some point, the King in Crimson is going to have enough of the boosters for their mobile unit going out, expanding the observation network and bringing enough people in that the entire razor's edge will be stable. Within the limits, because physics starts to break down towards the outer edges. But it will be stable. You will not need the glamours to travel. There'll be no reason not to if you want to, but you won't have to. And so where the razor's edge is right now that I'm writing about is just a transition point in time to what's happening in the far off future. And even at that, the Crimson Kingdom isn't going to last forever. And eventually it'll vanish, and then the boosters will fall, and then the stability will fail, and it'll all go back into just generalized chaos until more people come sweeping back in at some point, and it all begins all over. So it's all transitory. But even at that, there is kind of a rough map because Apple Rock, the town of Apple Rock, which is based around the mountain of Apple Rock, which has the clearing on it that overlooks the town where the Apple Rock Kaiju lives, that's the exact center of the Razor's Edge. And it goes outward from there, and it goes 10,000 kilometers out on each side. But from the 7 to 10,000 kilometer mark, things have broken down so far that people don't like it. You go from glamours everywhere to just a vague feeling of back behind you and out there. And that's incredibly claustrophobic. Glamours are breaking down. Everything's breaking down. It starts getting very unpleasant the further you get to the edge. But right around the Apple Rock thing is where everybody comes in from the outside, and then there's the Crossroads that leads you in that way. So there's a big circle of land, and when you come in from the outside where we are, you enter in a roughly circular, lozenge-shaped area that's the interaction zone. You're going to enter into the map at some point here when you follow the glamours to get to the Razor's Edge. If you have a very strong sense of sight, you can follow glamours closer to your destination, but if you don't, you're going to just drive in at some point, and that's right around Tonasket Valley and the town of Tonasket. And then from there, it's bigger and wide out, and then there's, Tall Ned, and there's Ash Bluff Pines, there's Grumper's Toad, and then you get up closer to Apple Rock itself. The other direction you head, and you get off to the Crossroads, the transition point between the Razor's Edge and the inside. Now that's a bit rough and dangerous, especially because, as I have mentioned for the whole setting on this, intelligence, power, and repetition are in... my denture cream stuff got up in here. Yay! Now my upper lip is sticking to my dentures. Yay! Repetition, power, and intelligence grinds in stability. And the Crossroads were already stable before people out here started coming into the Razor's Edge and then using the Crossroads to go on to the inside. Because people have existed on the Razor's Edge and the inside since before there were people out here. Since in the infinite ball of potential and possibility, it contains everything. And that energy is constantly sweeping outward through the islands on the inside, out those little doorways, through the Razor's Edge, and then flowing outward into the outside. As a real quick aside, I've mentioned how there appears to be infinite riches in the whole Apple Rock City area. And that's one of the reasons that nobody leaves, because there's so much there. There's infinite riches. There's all the minerals you need, all the resources, everything. Part of that is because that's where the door to the inside is. And the energy flows outward from there and then through into the outside. And all that energy coming right through that focal point keeps everything infinitely renewed and refreshed, because the energy from the inside is renewing and refreshing, and it's just reinvigorating. Yeah, they have infinite resources there. There's a big reason that people stay there. And of course, when you go from the inside and there's the Crossroads, I've been thinking about that. I really stressed the point of it takes power, intelligence, and time to grind instability, and the Crossroads have been around for a long time. 15 years ago is when they first reported somebody vanishing into the southern Crossroad exit. Since then, there have been more. It's been more talked about, more reports of missing people. One of the big things that goes viral on the inside is somebody uses their Sigh, like 6200, 6300 phone. And they're out traveling. And the southern exit is there. And they IRL live stream as they go through the exit. And then the phone cuts off just as, they're going, hey, it looks different, not bad. But then, and the phone whips around as they're going, oh my, what the? And if you've ever seen the movie The Mist, the remake that came out like 10 years back or so, I don't know exactly, it kind of looks like that for 2 or 3 seconds, and then the phone cuts off entirely because the southern exit's no longer there. And so that is why I had thought before that there would be a whole bunch of scientists that want to go in and examine this. After that, yeah, those 3 big old caravan/RVs of equipment and scientists, there's also 1 or 2 of soldiers. And they're insisting that they need to go down there and check out what the heck is going on. Because either this is new, which power and repetition grind something in. How could something be powerful enough to just decide it wants to be there? Or 2, it's always been there, only in the last 15 years, it no longer cares to hide its existence. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments. It's never much anymore, but anything more than 0 is awesome, so thank you. And if I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended. I'm an American English speaker, and even though I count in American Sign Language, well, with my depression, fibro, ADHD, ASD, gluten intolerances, my whole life has been just a nightmare. But I'm getting better. Thumbs up for that. It's a good thing. So we have Jocelyn Williams, good to see you in the comments, my friend. We have Trevor, thumbs up and thank you. Yogeshwaran, Centaur World is weird. I'm looking forward to it, but it's more and less than anything you're expecting. And there is Wumbo, thumbs up, and I have actually thought about, just doing a podcast type thing, so we shall see. Confused Owl 29, I really wish I knew an answer. What you've written here about things sounds like counseling or therapy could be a very good idea. I don't mean that in a bad way. Everybody in the world should have some form of counseling or therapy at some point. We have Tracy Jenkins, thumbs up. Pablo Dingus, greatly appreciated. There's Matt LB21, thumbs up and thank you. Big Ol' Worm, thumbs up. There is Ben B, greatly appreciated and good to see you in the comments. There is Mr. Cool Dude Like Food. Well, that's a good thing. I mean, liking food is good. Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. A name in Cyrillic, I can't remember how to pronounce that, but thank you very, very much and greatly appreciated. All 12 people who left me comments over the past 24 hours to get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, and that is appreciated. Even though it's only a text, even though it's only for a short time, you do get me out of my head, and I appreciate that. Definitely a good thing. And of course, with my hands in the air, don't know what device you're watching this on, so I don't know where the show more for the video description is, nor do I know if you even have one. I say this a lot, but I'll say it again. I occasionally watch YouTube on my PlayStation 4. There is no way for me to view comments or leave comments or see a video description on that. I've looked, and I'm also older, so I miss obvious things, but I can't find a way to see anything like that on there. So I don't know that you can see it, but if you can, inside there are links to all my various channels and links to my Twitter, my Facebook, my Patreon, and again, I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons, because literally these beautiful and awesome people do keep me alive. I am sinking beneath the financial waves, and it's not fun, but these people have at least helped slow the sinking, so I'm not drowning as quickly, and that is appreciated. Plus, I've forgotten how long I should be holding my hands in the air, but my wrist hurts, so yeah, I have carpal tunnel and my right hand keeps going numb again, so thumbs up. But of course, if you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, I do have links to a PayPal in the video description. And if you'd like to help me out without sending money, even though I'm hoping somebody can help me keep my post office box, if you'd like to help me out without sending any money, I do have that Amazon wish list link with all sorts of things like cat food on it. So if you could check that out, that'd be very cool. No, of course, don't feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot or do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. And again, if you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. Definitely a good thing. And of course, if you could subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, that would be very cool. Thumbs up and thank you. Well, hokey smokes, I'm hoping to get at least some things done today. I know I need to get some reactions recorded. I couldn't do it yesterday, but I was too busy playing Dead Island. I'm just, excuse me, I am just fixated on that game right now. Hyperfixation, hyper-focused, yay, ADHD. But it's good, I enjoy it, so that's thumbs up. But I want to get some things done, and hopefully you can get things done too. As well, we all know the Covfefe bug is still raging with all its various variants, so please, if you don't have to go out amongst the unmasked, unvaxxed, mouth-breathing plague rats, please don't. If you do, please maintain your social distancing, wear your mask, wash your hands often, try not to touch your face, maintain your social distancing. Did I already say that? Get a vax if you haven't, get the booster if you can, and hokey smokes, we got to get through this. We are alive for such a short period of time, and then we are dead forever after. Don't check out early. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. Well, quite frankly, I still think that is a very good idea.